You're listening to the Armchair Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Armchair Cricket Podcast, a podcast focusing on Test cricket by armchair critics of the game. Continuing with our World Cup digest covering latest matches and news, today we'll be talking about the match that was played yesterday between India and Pakistan and the match that was played today between West Indies and Bangladesh. So let me welcome my co-host Ajit to talk about this. Hello, Ajit. How are you doing?
Hi, Giri. I'm doing good. I had a nice, squash session today. So it was very good. I'm happy that I went to squash in spite of a bit of a pain in my big toe, but I hope that'll pass, right?
Right. Is it? I
Well,
hope it's not serious. Your injury.
well, no. It's not very serious. It's all good. I couldn't even call it an injury. It's the sort of injury air quotes sportsmen carry, right?
Right. Okay.
Right.
So did you watch the match yesterday between Pakistan and India at Old Trafford?
Yes, man. I did.
Yeah. Okay. So it was quite a spectacle, right? Every 4 years we have this occasion when India play against Pakistan, and everybody tunes in. I think it must have been at least 1 billion people tuning in to watch this, and thousands of people in the stadium as well who watch this, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of expectation from both teams as well as from the weather perspective. So we
Right.
had expected some kind of interruption, and
Mm.
we had even thought it would be a curtailed match. We may not even that we would not even get a full 50 over game on either side,
Right.
which more or less was the case, I think. But it was still a good game. So let's dig right into
Mm.
it.
Mm.
Pakistan won the toss, and Sarfraz had no hesitation in choosing to bowl first. Right.
Right.
When asked, Virat Kohli said he would also have done the same, so he would have also preferred to bowl first.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a rain on the previous day. I think on Saturday it had rained almost full day, and Sarfraz probably expected that there was a lot of moisture, latent moisture in the pitch, which would help
Right.
his bowlers, the seamers.
Mm.
And Pakistan made a couple of changes in their squad. They dropped Asif Ali, the batsman, and they brought in
Mm-hmm.
Imad Wasim, the all-rounder, left-arm spinning all-rounder.
Right.
And they also dropped Shahin Shah Afridi, like we had predicted. And they
Mm-hmm.
brought in, of course, this guy. What's his name? I forget his name. An additional bowler, right? Shadab Khan, bowling
Shadab
all
Khan
round.
was brought
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
Shadab Khan. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so that was a good choice, I think. So two spinners on his side, one finger spinner, and the other one was wrist. India
Mm-hmm.
themselves were left without Shikhar Dhawan, of course, still recovering from that injury. So they had to promote KL Rahul to
Mm-hmm.
open with Rohit Sharma, and they had to bring in Vijay Shankar for the elite number 4 position.
Right.
Um, right? I think that has been the talk of the year so far. Who is going to play at number 4? And Vijay Shankar, I think, was yeah, he was at least status to start at number 4 position. Well,
Of
India came
course.
out to bat.
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan bowled, especially Mohammad Amir bowled really well in the initial
Mm-hmm.
spell. I think he bowled very good line and length. So he contained a flow of runs on one end.
Mm-hmm.
KL Rahul took its time. I think he left a lot of deliveries outside the off stump. He played very cautiously, didn't want to gift his wicket away to Amir. While on
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, Hassan Ali, who opened the bowling with Amir, went for a few runs. And Rohit took on the role of the aggressor here because Shikhar Dhawan was not playing. I think he wanted to let Rahul settle down because this was the first time he was opening in a World Cup, and as well as playing with Rohit. I think this was their first ever opening partnership in ODI cricket.
Indeed.
Rohit took on the role of the aggressor, like I said, and he started scoring runs. He, in fact, scored a 34 ball 50 in this match. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
his fastest 50 in ODI cricket. Surprising.
Right.
And they put on a very good opening partnership of 136 runs before Rahul was. I think it was more of a soft dismissal. He was caught at short cover of the bowling of Wahab Riaz. for a well-made 57 runs of 78 deliveries. Rohit Sharma continued playing, and he was joined by Virat Kohli, the captain, and
Right.
both of them, they put together another very good partnership of
Right.
98 runs. And Rohit Sharma began to open up a little more after scoring yet another century in ODI cricket.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he was going to score big this time, but he went for. I think he got out trying to snatch a sneaky four over fine leg. He got caught out at a short fine leg for 140 runs,
Mm-hmm.
which contained 14 fours and 3 sixes. So very attacking innings there. Um, and Hardik Pandya then joined Virat Kohli. Pandya was promoted to number 4, like in the previous match against Australia. Uh, Pandya began to score some runs, but he was not as fluent as he was in the previous match. So he scored 26 runs before he was dismissed by Babar of the bowling of Mohammad Amir, caught by Babar
Mm-hmm.
Azam in the deep long gone. And then in came MS Dhoni. He basically faced a couple of deliveries before he was caught behind for 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
Vijay Shankar and Kedar Jadhav in the end helped India reach a score of 336 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in 50 overs.
Mm-hmm.
From bowling's perspective, Hassan Ali from Pakistan went for a lot of runs in his 9 overs, 84 runs, and although he picked up a wicket, I think it was very costly. Wahab Riaz was warned, I think, 2 times officially for running on the pitch, and yet he managed to get a wicket and also went for 71 runs in his 10 overs. Shadab Khan, the leg spinner, went for a few runs, 9 overs, 61 runs, and part-timer Shoaib Malik and Mohammad Hafiz also went for a lot of runs. Each of them went for 11 runs in 1 over. But the
Mm-hmm.
pick of the bowlers were 2 of them. Imad Wasim, the left-arm spinner, he contained the flow of runs in the boring middle overs. So he went for 49 runs in 10 overs, while Mohammad Amir, continuing with his consistent run of form, he picked up 3 wickets for 47 runs in his 10 overs. And when Pakistan came out to bat, I think Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Jasprit Bumrah bowled really well in the beginning. Did not give easy runs for them. But then Bhuvi was injured. I think there was a lot of dampness in the pitch because there was a short rain interruption when India were batting. So the
Right.
ground had not dried up, the outfield. So when he was running in, I think he sort of slipped in the foothole or something, and then it caused an injury. He's apparently injured. He's out for a couple of matches, I think. So he could
Mm.
not take any further part in the match. And Vijay Shankar was summoned to finish the over. I think there were a couple
Mm.
of deliveries remaining in that over, and Vijay Shankar, the man with the golden arm, reminds me of Saurav Ganguly from all those years ago. With his
Indeed.
very first delivery, he picked up a wicket of Imamul Haq for 7 runs. So he was trapped LBW. And then Fakhar Zaman and Babar Azam played very nicely. They resurrected the innings. They played very cautiously. They didn't give away their wickets. They were taking no undue risks, and they were just starting to open up. I think they had settled down very nicely. And when the score was 117 runs, Kuldeep Yadav, the left-arm leg break bowler, he produced a magical delivery when Babar Azam was beaten in flight and the ball spun into his stumps, ricocheted off his inside edge, I believe, onto the stumps, and that proved to be the turning point in Pakistan's innings. I think soon after that, Fakhar Zaman was out at short fine leg, caught by Yuzvendra Chahal of Kuldeep Yadav. Again, it was a very soft dismissal. He was trying to sweep Kuldeep and got off a top edge. It was dismissed for 62 runs. Babar was out for 48 runs. Hafiz came in. He looked good, but Hardik Pandya bowled a rank leg stump delivery. He was drifting down leg side. Hafiz timed it beautifully, but straight down the throat of Vijay Shankar at deep backward square leg, and he was out for 9 runs.
Mm.
And then Sarfraz Ahmed, the captain, I think he tried to, put up a fight, but before that, Shoaib Malik, I think, walked in. He was out first ball. The very next ball that Pandya bowled, he was bowled of Pandya. I think there was extra bounce, and then the ball took the inside edge and then struck his stumps. He was out of
Right.
first ball. And Sarfraz and Imad tried to, put up a fight, but Sarfraz was dismissed by Vijay Shankar in his second spell. I think the first delivery he bowled in his second spell, again he got a wicket. Again,
Right.
tracked on to his stumps. Sarfraz was out for 12 runs, and Imad and Shadab Khan were beginning to, they just started to bat together, and then there was a rain delay. I think in the 35th over, Pakistan were 166 runs for, I believe, 5 wickets.
Mm-hmm.
6 wickets, I think. And then there was a rain delay, and then the match was reduced when they came out to bat again. The match was reduced to 40 overs, with Pakistan set a revised target of 302 runs. So these two guys threw their bat around, but in the end, it was not enough. I think it was a huge ask. They finished with 212 runs for 6 wickets, with Imad Wasim not out on 46 runs and Shadab Khan not out on 20 runs. Bowling perspective, Bhuvi bowled his 2.4 overs for 8 runs without picking up a wicket. Jasprit Bumrah went for a few runs towards the end after the rain delay, but he went for 52 runs in his 8 overs, but bowled a really good initial spell. Vijay Shankar bowled magnificently well with good returns of 2 wickets for 22 runs in 5.2 overs. Hardik Pandya also picked up a couple of wickets for 44 runs in his 8 overs. Kuldeep was the pick of the bowlers. He went for 32 runs and picked up 2 wickets in his 9 overs. Yuzvendra Chahal bowled in tandem with Kuldeep, but he went for a few runs towards the end there. So 53 runs in his 7 overs. Player of the match was Rohit Sharma for his 140 runs in the Indian innings. And India have beaten Pakistan in a World Cup fixture now. I believe this is the 7th continuous victory they've had. So it's an enviable record if you are a Pakistani fan, I think, or an Indian fan even. It continues. I think Pakistan continue their winless streak against India, and more importantly for them, they have lost yet another match in this World Cup. I think this is their. They've won only one match in the last 5 outings, I believe. So one was washed out. So so it's not a good record. So they have a huge task ahead of them if they want to qualify for the semi-final stage.
Agreed. Well, a couple of points that we can discuss. One is the 3D cricket that Vijay Shankar brings to the squad, right? So it was a talking point, and even he was ridiculed for it, I'm sure. But he proved his worth in this match by, first of all, completing the overs that Bhuvaneshwar would not be able to, or let's say filling those up, but also taking wickets. So I think even the opposition may have underestimated him a bit, So he was able to deliver by taking a wicket off the first ball of each of his spells. So that proved like really, really useful. So a colleague of mine was actually talking to me about this morning, and he actually indicated how Bhuvaneshwar Kumar had actually set, let's say, Imam ul Haq up for a ball that left him, right? Yeah. So the first ball that Vijay Shankar bowled was a straight ball that was supposed to just come wicket to wicket. And I think it even came in a little, right?
Yeah.
So that caught Imam ul Haq unawares, and my colleague indicated that he was actually playing the ball from beside himself. His head was not over the ball, and as a result, he missed the line of the ball, right? This is a classic way of getting out. And the other thing, well, I think there was a little bit of luck involved that given that the dismissal was given out, the review could not overturn it. On the other hand, if it was given not out, the same would have held there also. So that's one thing, right?
But I saw 3 reds there. Even without the review, when the commentators reviewed it, I think there was 3 reds: pitching in line, impact in line, and it was crashing into leg stump. There was enough ball hitting the leg stump. I think it would have been. I think they would have lost the review. So Imam ul Haq actually did the right thing by not reviewing it, to be honest.
Interesting. So this is something I think I mistook then, right? But he proved his point very well, Shankar did, right? And he was not very successful with the bat. Maybe, there were people who were talking in the middle of the match saying that if, for example, if Jadeja or even Jadhav or somebody else had those 15 balls, maybe they would have gotten 10 more runs or something. But in the longer picture or the bigger picture, it didn't make any difference that, Vijay Shankar could not actually convert those runs. I mean, it was not going to be a close match in the end. So that was fine, right?
Yeah.
So looking at a couple of other things, if you go back to the beginning of the match, I think Pakistan chose to field because it was expected to be a rain truncated match, right? It was in the end. But unfortunately for Pakistan, there was no rain for the first half of the day. So Indian innings completed without any rain delays, right? Or there were rain delays, but there was no time lost because of it, right? So India had already crossed 300 by the time the first rain delay occurred. So as a result, this was something probably unexpected a little as far as Pakistan was concerned. They were probably expecting showers at about about 15, 18th over of the Indian innings. As a result, it would always make sense to bowl first, right? And you were also right when you said there was some moisture in the ground because it had rained all of last day. So when I looked at Sarfaraz's interview after the match, that's what he indicated. He said that because there was a lot of rain the previous day, some of the moisture would have seeped under the covers, and as a result, the pitch is expected to be a bit more spicier, a bit more green, right? So that didn't happen. So a bit of kudos there to the Indian openers. So even though they were opening for the first time together, they did their work really well. Now, if you were to look at the team composition of Pakistan, probably they got it a bit wrong. I would not have dropped Asif Ali, but I would have probably dropped Shoaib Malik. As harsh as it seems on somebody who's, well, a son-in-law. But as far as we are concerned, for the team balance, given that he bowled only 1 over, Pakistan could have done without that 1 over from him. It was not a very successful one anyway, and probably Hafiz could have bowled those overs. These are those, hindsight is 2020 sort of a point. But nonetheless, I thought when I looked at the squad, I was a bit surprised Asif Ali was dropped and Malik was retained because Asif Ali is a purer hitter of the cricket ball or a better finisher at this stage of his career, let's say, right? So I would have picked Asif Ali ahead of Shoaib Malik. This is the other point. So when it comes to another crucial point, when India started batting well, there was a good chance of a run out. I think Rohit was, let's say, reprieved once when the score was 47 for no loss. And the throw came to the wrong end and Rohit was reprieved. This was a very important point in the match because at this point, if Rohit had been dismissed, he was the one that was being the aggressor. So Rahul was playing out all the good balls, right? So this was again something I thought of, that Rahul got many of the good balls. Either Rohit did not get as many good balls, or because of the form he's in, he was able to convert them into scoring shots, right? It looked like Rahul had to let go of a lot of balls and so on. So Rohit got the easy balls and Rahul the tough ones. At least it felt like that, or both got equally tough balls, but Rohit is in a better form, let's say, right? So one way or the other, Rohit was aggressing, so it was very easy. And Rahul played himself quietly and he made a good comeback to the opening slot, right? He has done this previously and he's hit 100 when he played Zimbabwe, but this is a different ball game playing Pakistan in the World Cup, right? It was really good to have scored a 50. And then Kohli came in and then he consolidated beautifully, right?
Yeah.
But when Rohit got out trying a cheeky shot, it's usually expected that Kohli takes over, and he did that to an extent with Pandya. And strangely, Dhoni got out with a small score. And then Kohli himself I think he walked off thinking he had nicked a ball on which he had not nicked it. So that was taking sportsmanship to a next level, but it's nice to see nonetheless, right? Walking away when you think you've nicked it, but you had not nicked it. It can happen. But that's fine. One has to also applaud this guy because he may have made a difference of 5 to 8 runs in the final total. But walking off, he's setting a precedent. He's the captain of the Indian team, and by doing that, he's showing his opposition he holds the loss of the cricket more than this contest itself, so to say. That was a good thing to see. Yeah. So, not a big finish with Kedar Jadhav not getting enough strike and Vijay Shankar not being able to accelerate meant India were probably 20 runs short. But in the end, the total of 337 was anyway going to be challenging because they had already batted first and there was some rain still expected, right? So, and then a lot of credit goes to the way Indian bowlers started. Bhuvi, even though he was out after 2.5 overs, let's say he set the platform by bowling those very restrictive lines to the left-handers. Yeah. Bhuvi is now a real pass master at bowling at opening left-handers, and he again showed that because both the batsmen are lefties. They were able to get into a good groove, Bhuvneshwar and Jasprit, right? And Jasprit is Jasprit. There's not a lot to be said about him. He's very nearly the finished product, right? And he's doing really well. So then there were these 2 strikes by Shankar, but notwithstanding that, I think Kohli was a bit brave to keep going with Kuldeep. Kuldeep and Chahal were starting to be milked, and this meant the Pakistani middle order was settling itself down really well. So Babar and Fakhar were looking comfortable. At that stage, the ball to take out Babar was a gem. I think it drifted out enough
Yeah.
that Babar had to stretch, and then it came back right through the gate to bowl him. It was a classic spinner's dismissal, a real delight, right? And
Reminds me of that dismissal that Kuldeep got, Maxwell. You remember? Dharamsala in the
precisely,
test match.
precisely,
Yeah. I think that was
exactly.
one of his, I think that was probably his test debut, if I'm not wrong, against Australia.
Could be,
Yeah.
could be. I forget the
But it
match.
was a magical delivery. It was a similar
Indeed.
one.
No, it's one of those balls as a spinner you hope and hope and hope, and you probably bowl two or three of these in a year, right? Where the ball drifts enough to get the batsman out of his comfort zone, be it on
Yeah.
the front foot or the back foot, and then it sneaks through. So that's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
That was a good ball. And then, of course, he was also doing good when he took the other batsman out. So in this case, the double strike that Kuldeep provided 2 in 2 overs were the real big blows. Fakhar Zaman was also dismissed, right? Going for a shot where he was caught at short third man, if I'm not wrong. So, a short fine leg, sorry. So this was all very good. But then the way Mohammad Hafiz was worked out by Pandya was excellent. So Pandya also needs to be given credit because he took 2 wickets in 2 balls. So both Shoaib Malik and Hafiz were dismissed off back-to-back balls. Shoaib Malik looked a bit tentative and he sort of did not get far ahead enough, and as a result he played on. But Hafiz simply chipped a ball straight, not knowing that there was a fielder there. He thought this is an easy boundary to be had, but then there was a fielder waiting there. So this sort of cat and mouse game was played beautifully, and I think credit goes both to Pandya and to Kohli there. So they did really well. And
Mhm.
by this time, I think with 4 wickets suddenly lost, Pakistan were, let's say, 1 for 117 in the 24th over and picking up pace. Suddenly they were 5 for 129, and match was more or less sunk. Sarfraz Ahmed was then dismissed by Shankar. We already discussed this, but in the end, Imad Wasim and Shadab Khan did their best to push the total up a little, but it was anyway a bridge too far. I mean, it was a 30 runs from 130 runs from 30 balls, so it was not going to be possible, right?
Mhm.
As a result, a lot of credit goes to the Indian bowlers, and of course, to perform so nervelessly, to make plans, practice them is one thing, but perform so nervelessly in India-Pakistan crunch game is something else. So I would like to give a lot of credit to the Indian team here overall,
Yeah.
also to the batters, because without them this would not have been possible. And there is a very nice article that Nagaraj Golapudi has written about the Indian team that is a beast under Kohli. It's a fantastic read. I think I would recommend it to all our listeners, right? So that was a very, let's say, an exhaustive discussion. Do you have any other points you would like to add, Giri?
I think we mentioned the runouts that Rohit had, right? Run out chances that Pakistan
Mhm.
missed when Rohit was batting. I think one was when he was 47 not out, and the other one was, I think, probably the 11th over. That was still early on, so they missed a couple of chances there. Pakistan,
Yeah.
I think I think the situation had probably got the better of them. I think the occasion, they were a lot under pressure and probably also very nervous when this all this happened. And I think the decision to field first, uh, if you look back on all the matches that India have won against Pakistan, majority of them have all been India batting first,
Hmm.
right? In World Cups, I mean. So in all these seven victories that India have had, and going back 20 years in 1999, when India won
Hmm.
against Pakistan at the same ground, I think India had made 220 odd runs, and even that score they were able to defend at Old Trafford. And of course, the batting in this match clicked for India. India made a big score, but you have to
Right.
consider the fact that it has always been the Indian bowlers who have been able to either restrict Pakistan or bowl them out and win the match for India. So Indian bowling has improved a lot, and I think all three departments are working so well in tandem. So it was a very good team effort set up by Rohit's century and supported very nicely by the bowlers and Kuldeep Yadav, amazing, a brave, wrist spinner in this day and age, who is not afraid
Hmm.
to toss the ball up in the air above the batsman's eye line. And yeah, I think this credit to Team India for being so professional about this. I think Pakistan will have to come back in 4 years and try again.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, but
Well, there may be some World Cup T20 encounters, but agreed, in a World Cup 50 over format game, probably yes. They still have this voodoo to break, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen for sure. And I only wish that the supporters and fans of the Pakistan cricket team are not so critical with their players. It's just a cricket match. I'm sure it's a very important one for both sides, but they just lost to a better team on the day. Nothing more, nothing less. You can go back and forth and what they did the previous evening or what they didn't do and so on. But I think it's getting a bit personal there. I think, right? So I hope people sort of cool off. And Pakistan still has 4 games, and we really hope they perform well and they are able to put their hat into the ring for the semi-final spot,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
But as far as India are concerned, having won 3 out of 4 possible matches and the fourth one being washed off, they require 2 more wins. So given that they have matches against Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, there is a high likelihood India are looking comfortable to clinch a semi-final spot, Giri.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they play their next match against Afghanistan.
Right.
So yeah, unless Afghanistan pull a surprise there, I think India should be fine. And Afghanistan, I think they are a bit on a decline at the moment. They don't look so good on the field.
Yes.
So let's see.
Well, one other small talking point. Well, it looks like Kohli became the fastest batter to get to 11,000 ODI runs in the duration of this innings. So he required 57 runs when he began this innings, and then he made it during this innings. So he has taken just 222 innings, whereas Tendulkar, who was the previous fastest, has taken 276 innings. So congrats to Kohli. It looks like this giant of a batsman is still going on, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. And we hope long may this hunger for runs continue as far as Kohli is concerned, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you were to quickly take a look at the next match, the match was match number 23. This was played at Taunton between West Indies and Bangladesh. Bangladesh, having won the toss, surprised everyone and elected to field first, right? So in this game, this was also a very closely contested match. But in the end, about 5/6 of the game, it was closely contested. The last 1/6 Bangladesh pulled away and really, really comfortably won the match. So a lot of kudos to them. So if you were to look at the scoring highlights, so bowling first, Bangladesh first of all dismissed Chris Gayle for a 13-ball duck. This is his longest duck in international cricket. He's never made a 13-ball duck. He was out for a duck, dismissed by Mohammad Saifuddin. Surprisingly, in this game, Saifuddin and Murtaza took the new ball, and Mustafizur Rahman was held back for the, let's say, first down or first change. And then this worked out beautifully for Bangladesh. We'll look at it later, right? So Evan Lewis played a wonderful hand, and him and Shai Hope took the score to 122. After the dismissal of Lewis, Hope was joined by Nicholas Puran, who, even though made only 25 runs, hit a really, really big six, right? But they took the score to 159. And then Hetmeyer came into bat, and Hetmeyer, as if came in with an agenda. So he hit a really fast 50. He made 50 of just 25 balls before getting out of the very next ball. But this was the second fastest 50 for West Indies in the World Cup. All this while Hope held one end up. Andy Russell came and went without scoring any. Jason Holder came and again continued with the same idea that Hetmeyer had, and they kept scoring the runs quickly. It was very obvious that West Indies needed more than 321 that they made in the end. Darren Bravo tried to farm the strike, and West Indies were not as productive in the last 7 overs as they would have wanted to. They only managed to score about 47 runs in the last 7 overs, and Bangladesh would have taken that gladly, right? So they finished with 321 for 8. And when it comes to bowling, Mustafa Murtaza this time chose to bowl out himself in the first spell itself. He bowled 7 overs or 8 overs of his spell directly there, and he finished with 8 overs, 1 for 37, no wickets. Mohammad Saifuddin, even though he was a bit costly towards the end, took 3 wickets for 72 in his 10. Mustafizur Rahman, who was held back, was very crucial in dismissing the middle order, right, along with Saifuddin, and he finished with 3 for 59 of 9 overs. Mehdi Hassan, who was expected to be more effective, did not take a wicket, but he was containing, and he gave away just 57 runs in his 9 overs. Mosaddiq Hussain was very useful as usual. He's usually bought on in after the 30th over, and he did a good restrictive job to take no wickets, but he just considered a runner ball in his 6 overs. And Shakib Al Hasan, as usual, was a bit costly than he would have wanted, but he still took 2 wickets for 54 in his 8 overs. So at the halfway stage, one felt West Indies were on top. But Bangladeshi openers had a completely different idea. So Tamim Iqbal and Soumya Sarkar came out and blunted out 2 to 3 overs, got used to the condition, and then Soumya Sarkar started teeing off. So Soumya Sarkar made a very adventurous 29 of just 23 balls with 2 fours and 2 sixers, and he took on the pacers of West Indies, especially Holder and also O'Shane Thomas were singled out for some big hits. Once he got out, Tamim Iqbal was joined by Shakib Al Hasan, who played a wonderful knock. So Tamim Iqbal got to 48 before he was run out by Cottrell of a wonderful, fielding of his own bowling and running the batsman at the striker and dismissal. So it was one of those rare runouts by Cottrell, who showed wonderful agility. But once Tamim was dismissed for 48, Shakib and Mushfiqur started together. Mushfiqur could not last long and he was dismissed for 1 by Thomas. But Shakib held fort. So until Shakib was there, we all felt Bangladesh would not lose. But he was joined by Luton Das, who started off cautiously, but he slowly picked up the confidence from the way Shakib was playing. And towards the end, they just cantered home. So to chase the highest total that they have ever chased in a World Cup match, 322, to chase the highest total they've ever chased in any one-dayer, and to do it in 41 and a half overs against this West Indian lineup was a wonderful achievement. There was nothing home to write about the West Indian bowling. So Russell took 1 for 42 and O'Shane Thomas took 1 for 52. But Russell really looked to be struggling in the field. Giri, he was in a lot of pain. It looks like he was not even able to chase the ball that went past him a couple of times and had to just give away boundaries. So this did not look good. I don't know why he was on the field. Maybe the captain wanted to bowl him, so he was not allowed to leave the field. But it looked really painful from a spectator's perspective. And I really hope, this injury that he's carrying either heals or he's ruled out, because this was not going to help anybody, right? So it was tough to see that. So overall, Shakib Al Hasan, for his 2 wickets and wonderful 124 of just 99 balls, he was declared as the man of the match. Right, Giri? So,
Yeah.
Any discussion points?
Yeah, about Andre Russell. Every single match he has played, I can from my memory that I can think of, he has had some sort of discomfort. Either he has not finished his bowling spell, or he has finished his bowling spell and he has walked off in discomfort. So is he, are the West Indies, are they risking here his career as well as their tournament chances? Because if they're playing with a man who is half fit, I mean, what will they do in the long run? They're just trying to go all guns blazing, or I think they probably should do something else about Andre Russell, maybe replace him with somebody else. And the other thing is, I noticed in their in the scorecard, or in the team lineup actually, they have 5 specialist bowlers apart from Chris Gale. Chris Gale, the part-time off spinner. So if one of your bowlers are having a tough day, who are you going to take help from another part-timer, for example? So you had Sheldon Cottrell, you had O'Shane Thomas, you had Shannon Gabriel, and Jason Holder himself, who is an all-rounder, and then you have Andre Russell. So 5 quicks, right? And then one Chris Gale is a part-time spinner. So you don't have any other option there in the squad. There is no variety. I know West Indies always want to have a fast bowling attack, but maybe I'm just thinking they should have done a little more differently. Here in this case, because Andre Russell is not fully fit, so if he's not able to finish his 10 overs, you need somebody else to fill the gap there.
Agreed. Well, they could have actually gone in with Fabian Allen here. I would have actually probably rested Shannon Gabriel and brought in Fabian Allen, the left-arm spinner, because he can also bat a bit. So their lower order looks really, really paper-thin once, let's say, somebody like Russell is out, for example, in a regular lineup, right? So, but in this case, probably O'Shane Thomas could have been seated because Shannon Gabriel had taken the 2 wickets to fall in the previous game. So probably they wanted him. But in this game, he didn't do much of note, right? In fact, nobody did anything of note except Sheldon Cottrell, who took a run out of his own bowling. So in the end, this was a completely facile bowling performance by the West Indies. They did not look like they wanted to be there. They did not look to see if they can, stretch the target by 2 more overs or 1 more over. They just wanted to be out of there. So it really looked like their shoulders had dropped and they wanted to go back to the hotel. So that did not contribute good.
Yeah. And do they also have Kemar Roach in their lineup?
Yes,
he hasn't played a game. He hasn't played a play. Has he played one?
He has already played in the World Cup. Yes.
Okay. Maybe they should bring him back for the next match.
I guess so. So I think Gabriel or Thomas, one of these two may sit out and Kemar Roach may come in because he's more steady, even though he's not as fast or as menacing. He's more steady and he gives you the control. Holder will play, but if Russell goes out, this is the thing. I think Brathwaite will come in for now, but if Russell is probably ruled out of the tournament or something, people are saying maybe somebody like Kyron Powell may come back in, right?
Pollard, you mean?
You're absolutely right. Pollard.
Okay, I was just thinking maybe they should have included Pollard in the first place. I think we talked about this when we did a preview of their team selection.
Indeed.
Maybe they have missed a point there. I think Andre Russell was already struggling when he was playing the IPL. He had a wrist injury then, and now he has some other issue with his leg or some foot issue.
Right, right.
So yeah, so they have a lot of wounded horses,
Indeed.
unfortunately.
Well, some of them might even be tigers, but they're wounded nonetheless. So
The Tigers are roaring.
The Tigers are actually roaring. You're absolutely right. The Bangladeshi Tigers, they're doing really well. Right? So it looked like a comprehensive victory as far as Bangladesh was concerned. You would not think this is a Bangladesh team of the yesteryear. They're playing really professionally, well drilled. I think these are all still, they're reaping the benefits of Chandika Hathurasingha's reign as the coach. And also, I think Steve Rhodes, who was the coach, was his birthday. Actually, it was his birthday today. So they delivered a good gift for him. Right?
Yeah.
So that's very nice to see.
I think Shakib batting at number 3 has been a real highlight here. I think he has been the main reason Bangladesh have been doing so well. He gets more time to bat out there. He's not under pressure to just finish games for the team because he was batting way down. I think they are making use of his skills in the best possible way. I think if this continues and if Shakib continues his good run with the bat, they are in with a chance. I think they have an outside chance of making the playoffs or the knockout stage.
Look, one
They
way
may
or
as
the
well
other.
surprise you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. No, one way or the other, whether they make the knockouts or not, they will walk out of the tournament with their heads held high. This is fantastic for Bangladesh. And we really hope they make the knockouts as well, right? But I think Shakib is right now a shoe-in for the man of the tournament as things stand, right?
Yeah.
Second consecutive 100, he's taken at least 1 or 2 wickets every match, right? So it's fantastic to see. So going further, if you were to take a quick look at tomorrow's match would be the match held in Manchester between Afghanistan and England. So England are a bit wounded. So we hear that, Roy, who walked out of the field with a hamstring tear, indeed he suffered a hamstring tear and he might miss 2 to 3 games, right? And then Owen Morgan, who was actually struggling with a sore back, looks like he's recovered in time. So he'll play tomorrow, right? But this English team may think of this game as a slippery banana peel. They may not want to be overconfident or something because this Afghanistan team can surprise others. So they are themselves in a bit of trouble. They're not very confident on the field. So Giri, what do you think?
Well, I think Afghanistan they've lost their talisman at the top of the order. Mohammad Shahzad, I think he was the agenda setter for them. And without him, they look toothless at the top. I know Hazratullah Zaza has been batting well, but he doesn't have the experience to bat with him. He's still a youngster. He's just started his career. So, I mean, I hope they make a comeback, and I hope Rashid Khan is doing okay because he was hit right in the previous match or one of the other matches.
Right.
And we are still waiting for him to fire in this tournament. Rashid Khan to take a match-winning spell, salvage something for the team. I think they desperately need a win here, especially to boost their morale. I'm not talking about them making it to the semifinals or something. I think they need a win soon.
Agreed.
They're due one.
No, it's more like first they'll want to compete well and then hope the win comes through because I really don't see them upsetting England, but they may compete well. They may play really strongly and make it tough for England. That in itself would be a victory for them because at this stage I don't see them beating England. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think beating England is there's no fat chance in hell. But at least they need to perform well in this match, like you said, and the next match they play against, I don't know which one they play against. They should be in with a chance then. They haven't played Sri Lanka, have they?
Oh, that was the one they lost, actually.
They lost, okay.
Yes. So that would have been a good match, but yes, they have lost that one.
Yeah, that was their chance, I think.
All right.
Because they play against India after this, right? So after tomorrow's match, they play against India. So unfortunately, there is no respite for them.
Agreed. But India get a bit of a respite. So after having played on Sunday, the next game is on Saturday. So they have a chance to recover both physically and mentally. That's good. But Afghanistan, you're right, is probably not going to have an easy journey up ahead either. right? So I hope they pull their act together and give a creditable performance.
Yep.
All right. So going through the other World Cup related news, Brathwaite, who was reprimanded because he showed a bit of dissent regarding the dismissal, the way he was out against England, has been given one demerit point for that, right? And we've already discussed Bhuvneshwar Kumar is out for 2 to 3 games because of the hamstring injury. So we really hope he recovers soonish, right? So let's hope he's able to come back quickly, because I think he's crucial for India in day starts, early day starts.
Yep.
But now I think Shami slots back in. So this was probably going to be anyway India's plan, and it's sort of coming in the right time, because Shami will also be blooded back into the squad and he'll be given a couple of games so that he can be ready for the knockouts.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
All right. Now, if we were to go on to the trivia question from the previous episode was, who's the only player to have played in a cricket and football World Cup? So, as usual, Yogesh, our supporter and listener, has given the right answer. The answer is Elise Perry from Australia. So she played in the 2009 World Cup, the Women's World Cup, where she even scored a goal in the quarterfinal, right? And then she played in the 2011 Women's Cricket World Cup. So, and she's won the Cricket World Cup in 2011, right? So she's one of those rare players. Also, I think one of the commonly mistaken answer to this question is actually Sir Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards, Richards, who's actually played in a qualifier for Antigua. Football match in a World Cup qualifier, but he's never played in the World Cup final event, whereas Elise Perry has played in both the final events of football and cricket World Cups, right? And this was clearly pointed out by our friend Yogesh, so thanks to him, and I hope he continues to listen and write in with the answers. The trivia question for this week, or this episode, is which player holds the record for the fastest 50 for West Indies in World Cup matches? So we just discussed that, Shimron had married the second fastest 50. So who scored the fastest 50 for West Indies in a World Cup match? If you want to get in touch with us to give us the answer to this question or to share your thoughts and comments, you can do that through social media platforms like Twitter, where we are available at armchair.cricket, or using our Facebook page, or you could post a comment on any of your podcasting apps that you use, right? Like Apple Podcasts or Podbean or any of those. Also, you could write into us at armchair.cricket@gmail.com. So I hope, you do keep listening to us, and you also discuss this podcast with your cricketing friends so that we get more, encouragement and some nice inputs. We will be continuing to do the same format, and we'll have plenty to talk about in the upcoming digests as well. So I hope you do stay tuned in and keep listening. Having said all that, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Armchair Cricket Podcast.